So if you're a CEO and you want to grow your organization, grow your capability, grow your ability to serve people, grow, it requires you to grow personally. We had a large human service provider as a client recently, about 1,000 employees, and the CEO was like visionary, and really good guy. Everybody loved him. He had connections throughout the organization, affable, friendly. I mean, like the picture book CEO. And in the midst of one of our workshops, he had this epiphany that he was so focused on building relationships just unconsciously, that's just part of his personality, that he wasn't holding people accountable. And I don't mean punitively, I mean just expecting people to hit their numbers, and following up with them and kind of doing the basics. And it hit him like a ton of bricks. So we went to work on developing the ability, because it was really outside his comfort zone, developing the ability to sit down with people and just simply follow up on how are they doing on their initiatives, how are they doing hitting their numbers, etc. And it was amazing to watch, because within a year, they dramatically improved their ability to be financially sustainable. They dramatically improved their profitability. The results they were producing for those they were serving were increasing in measurable ways.
And it helped carry them through the pandemic. They talked about specifically how this work had helped them to come together as a team, and it started at the top. And so if you want to grow in your effectiveness, you have to start with yourself. It's not rocket science. And it focuses on who you're being. And we're going to talk over the next several videos about some of the tools and approaches that we have found helpful, and that Brad's been using for over 30 years to produce pragmatic results within cultures. And it really all comes under the umbrella of, if you're going to be a good leader, a great leader, you have to be one that's growing. You have to be one that's constantly improving. I just heard an interesting fun fact that the Library of Congress has 170 some million books in it and resources. So if you think about that, that's sort of the sum total of what there is to know. So it's impossible to read all of those resources. So the reality is, we really don't know as much as we may think we do. And if we can let go of that, if we can let go of the ego of needing to sort of always be right and prove ourselves right, especially as leaders, it's very freeing. And we can let other people in, and then we can all grow and improve together, because that's what it takes. You need that sort of behavioral agility if you're going to grow your organization and grow your team with this next generation.
Yeah, I love that. And the concept of just thinking about your affect. We always want to know more or do more or be better in some way, but just being mindful today of what's the affect I'm having as a leader and where do I need to grow? You said behavioral agility, which I think is I don't know, maybe we should coin that word or trademark it, or that phrase. I mean, it sounds like situational leadership reframed around like habits and behaviors. So Brad, what else would you say? Like when you talk about how we don't want to just give people tips, why is that?
Well, I mean, you can give me a tip. You can say, Brad, when you have meetings, explain things more thoroughly. Well, I mean, I know that intellectually, but so you give me that tip, it really doesn't help me. I mean, I get that. Now, does that mean I do it? Not necessarily. It's kind of like, I know what it takes to lose weight. Does that mean I'm going to eat less and exercise more? Well, for most of us, no. So there's a big gap between what's motivating us to behave in the ways that we're now behaving, most of which is unconscious. We're not even aware of what it is. And how do we actually change those behaviors? And not like, if I'm an introvert, how do I become an extrovert all the time? No, it's how do I know when to use the strengths of introversion and when to use the strengths of extroversion? Because introverts are really good at concentrating, at creating things, at things that require a tremendous amount of data to be assimilated and make decisions and analyze. Whereas extroverts are very good at speaking with people and developing things in communication with one another. and creating that kind of unified view of things. So it's not about, well, one's better or the other one's better. No, it's about which one do you more tend toward, and how do you develop the opposite? If you're an introvert, how do you develop the ability to be extroverted when that's appropriate, or the other way around? And we're not just talking about those two things. We're talking about, when do you take control? When do you not? When do you really focus on details? When do you not? When do you use pessimism, which, by the way, is a very actually valuable way of being and thinking, versus optimism, or optimism versus pessimism? Behavioral agility.
It's good.
Yeah, and Einstein, there was a great quote from Einstein that said, the measure of intelligence is measured by the ability to change. And I think that's true for all of us, especially leaders, is that we can't just think we've got it figured out. We have to constantly be growing, constantly improving. The world is changing so rapidly that really our ability to stay in front of it is going to be measured by how quickly we are to adapt and to change and to grow and to adopt a truly a growth mindset. And this is not easy. So we're really excited to be walking through some of the ideas and concepts that we've used with clients to help you become a better leader and help you become more aware of who you're being.
Yeah, love it. And so, yeah, this will be the beginning of a series on being an effective leader and helping people constantly get out of a fixed mindset. It's not just who you are, it's who you need to be in different situations. Brad, as you were saying that, I think, like, we always think I'm just this or I'm this, but as leaders, that's just too simplified. We need to sometimes be this and other times this, and that behavioral agility is a great analogy for that. And so more coming, trying to keep short videos to help all of you as you lead, and keep, more importantly, focused on you being mindful of the habits you're developing to be more effective.